जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरु वैष्णवाञ्छां श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी त्रिशुभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपदाग स्वामिने नामने नमाचार्य पदाय निताय गृहप्रदायिने गौरकदादामदाय नगर ग्रामधारणे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिने नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पासादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So today we are going to discuss 14th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā. I think today attendance is still less. Some more devotees are yet to join. Anyway, we will begin the class as it is already 6:10. Let other devotees join. I think they will join maybe another 2-3 minutes they will join. So let us start our session. So today we are going to discuss 14th chapter. So we will have I invite before I start, I welcome all the devotees who have just joined for today's Bhagavad-gītā class. We will begin the class. Let our other friends let them join. So we will have a quick recap of 13th chapter that we have seen yesterday. 13th chapter is on enjoyer, consciousness, and knowledge. So therefore that at the 13th chapter started with Arjuna asking in the first sloka a question about 6 items or 6 topics. So Arjuna asked about 6 topics or 6 aspects. That question started with what is Prakriti, what is Purusha, what is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajna, what is Jnana, and what is the object of knowledge. So these are the 6 questions Arjuna asked in the beginning of the 13th chapter. So Supreme Lord Krishna answered all the questions in the chapter. So the 13th chapter. Actually, the whole chapter answers Arjuna's this single question. So one question and one sloka, it comprising of 6 different topics. So here he answered, Kshetra means our body. So we all Jivatma, we live in different bodies. These bodies are called as Kshetra. Kshetranya means one who knows the body. As Atma, we live or reside within this body. Therefore, actually this how the body and the soul, they are connected, that only Krishna only knows. So this anyway, but by Krishna's arrangement, we are presently all the Jivatmas, all the Atmas are living within the material bodies, and therefore through consciousness we are able to know what is the feeling, willing, all this that's going on within our body, we know. So therefore we are the knower of the body. So these two things Krishna explained. So the body is Kshetra, so the Atma is Kshetranya. Then Krishna further says, I am also Kshetranya, but I am Kshetranya of all bodies. Sarva Bhutis, Kshetranya, Sarva Bhutis. So Krishna is present in his Paramatma feature. He is present in all bodies. So therefore, he is also Kshetranya, but he knows everybody, and we know only our body. So therefore, that is the difference. So therefore, and Paramatma is super consciousness. He is conscious of all different persons, all different bodies. Okay. So this he has explained what is this Kshetra and Kshetranya. And then Jnana. Jnana means, Krishna said, to understand the soul, the Kshetra, that is to understand the Kshetranya, Kshetra and Paramatma and their interrelationship, that is called Jnana. So the Jnana is to understand what is soul, what is super soul, and what is this Prakriti. So and their interaction and the relationship between them. This is called Jnana. This is what Krishna has told in the Bhagavad-gītā. And also he has given the process of knowledge. So in the process of gaining knowledge, it starts with actually in 4-5 slokas, Krishna has given some 25 different divine qualities which comprise of knowledge or gaining knowledge, process of gaining knowledge. Of these various items of knowledge, the most important item is constant remembrance and service to the Supreme Lord Krishna. That is the topmost. And second essential quality, essential jnana, is accepting a bona fide guru and serving the guru respectively properly. So these two are most important thing. Then other qualities, starting with humility, amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shanti, arjavam, like that. There are many other qualities, nearly 23 qualities. So all these 23 qualities become useful, meaningful if we accept a bona fide guru and render service to the Supreme Lord. So the goal is to understand Krishna and render service. That is the purpose of all this jnana. So the purpose of jnana, or the object of jnana, is Paramatma. So in this case, that means jnana and jnayam. So jnayam is what is the object of knowledge. Object of knowledge through all this knowledge, what we want to understand. So through all this knowledge, we are supposed to understand Paramatma, ultimately Krishna. So that is the jnana and nyaya. Then Krishna also later chapters he explained what is the Prakriti. So Prakriti means the material nature is Prakriti. So the whole material nature, material cosmos is Prakriti. Prakriti is called by name Prakriti. The Prakriti is comprised of 24 elements. The 24 elements are the 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These are called Panchamahabhuta, 5 gross elements. Then we all have 5 knowledge acquiring senses like eyes, ear, nose, tongue, and skin. And then we also have 5 working senses, that is Jnana Indriyas and Karma Indriyas. So Karma Indriyas are working senses are 5, like leg, hands, anus, genital, and sabda. These are 5 working senses. So then we also have, there are 5 sense objects, so which we want to enjoy, like sabda, that touch, smell, taste, like that. So there are 5 sense objects which we want to enjoy. So totally there are 20. And that is 5 Pancha Mahabhuta, 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and 10 objects, sense objects. So totally 20. Plus our subtler body, mind, intelligence, ego, and Magat. So therefore, totally 24 elements. So these total 24 elements is the constitution of the Prakriti. The Prakriti is, its constitution is, it's made up of these 24 elements. So this Krishna has explained in the later slokas. So, therefore, all these 6 items, 6 topics which Arjuna asked, Krishna has explained one by one. So he has explained about Prakriti. Then he also explained the nature of Prakriti. Prakriti is eternal. It has no beginning, no end, and it manifests sometime and it disappears sometime. That it becomes unmanifest. And then it also it undergoes continuous changes, like that it explained. And the Prakriti controls the Jivatma through 3 gunas. So this is a very important point to be noted in the 13th chapter. So Prakriti controls us through 3 gunas. So this is what we have been seeing yesterday. So Arjuna asked 6 questions, and Krishna answered all those questions one by one. And I have just summarized what are the 6 questions and what are the answers. Then the attributes of soul, attributes of super soul we have seen. And finally, Krishna, Arjuna, what he asked was, who is the enjoyer? So enjoyer, and the supreme super soul is the enjoyer, is the primary enjoyer. And therefore, the qualities of super soul is also given. Super soul is, he knows all bodies. He is present in every Jivatma as in the form of Vishnu, 400 form. And he is the permitter. And he is the Bhatta controller. So without his permission, the Atma cannot do his activities. The Atma may develop some desire, but to fulfill those desires, to execute those desires in the form of action, we need the permission of the Paramatma. So without the permission of the Paramatma, the soul cannot perform those activities. It cannot be fulfilled. So all these, the interactions between soul, Prakriti, Paramatma, we have discussed. So therefore, in this 13th chapter, all these topics, whatever Arjuna asked has been clarified, and that forms the basic fundamental knowledge. So this knowledge is given so that one can understand the spiritual nature and extricate oneself from this material entanglement. So Krishna in this 13th chapter actually he says in the 22nd sloka, 13th chapter, 22nd sloka, which says, Purusha prakritisto hi bhunkte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangasya sat asat yoni janmasu. So this is the sloka that comes in the 13th chapter, 22nd sloka. The living entity in material nature, because we are now at present, we are living in the material nature only. So therefore, the living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. So the three modes of nature means the sattva guna, rajo gun, and tamo gun. So this is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. So because we are entangled in the material nature through these three guna, we are forced to take birth in different forms, sometimes good, sometimes evil. So thus he meets with good and evil among various species. So Srila Prabhupada, while explaining this point, he says this verse very important for understanding of how the living entities transmigrating from one body to another. So therefore, because of these three guna, we change our body. And this change of dress is due to his attachment to material existence. As long as we are captivated by this false manifestation, we have to continue transmigration from one body to another. So like that, Srila Prabhupada has given in the purport. Anyway, coming to the 14th chapter, so the connection or link between the 13th chapter and the 14th chapter is this sloka. So where Krishna says that we are entangled in the material nature by the three gunas. Now in the 14th chapter, Krishna is going to explain the three gunas, the nature of the three gunas, and how these gunas bind us to the material nature. And at last, Krishna explains how we can disentangle ourselves or extricate ourselves from the binding, from the bondage to the three gunas. So this 13th chapter is very, very, very important chapter, because here Krishna gives the clue. Some devotees have analyzed this and they have given some analogy. Analogy of this section is the material world or material nature is compared to prison house. So at present we are inside the prison. From the earlier chapters we already come to know. We have come to know that we are not this body, we are Atma. What is our duty? we know where we have come from. So we have come from the spiritual world, and right now we are stuck in the material world. So we want to get out of this. We want to connect with Krishna, but somehow we are at present got stuck in the prison house. So this is just an analogy. Some devotees have analyzed like this. So therefore, it is true also. We are in a prison house, occupying sometime A class room or B class room, C class room, like that. So this any prison will have the windows. So the three gunas are considered to be the prison window, the bars of the windows, three bars. So now we have to remove these bars or get out of this prison house bars. So how to cut these three bars? That is some interesting analogy of the uh, three gunas. So here in this chapter, Krishna is going to explain how the material energy through these three gunas binds us, and Krishna also gives the means by which we can get out of this or break open these three gunas and come out of the three guna. So that method also Krishna gives. So therefore, in this 14th chapter, we find in the first 9 slokas, Krishna describes what are the three gunas, what are the attributes of each of these three gunas, and then he explains how we can recognize the supremacy of one guna over the other, because sometimes sattva guna is more prominent, the other gunas become weaker. Then other times rajo guna would become very prominent, and the sattva and tamasa guna will become weaker. So like that. And then what is the effect of somebody, because we maybe in satoguna, rajoguna, or tamoguna at the time of leaving the body, that means at the time of death. So what is the destination of one who leaves the body in satogun or rajogun, tamogun? That also Krishna explains. And then Krishna also explains what is the result of actions performed in Satoguna, actions performed in Rajogun and Tamogun. And after giving all this detailed analysis of the three gunas, and finally Krishna gives how one can transcend or come out of the influence of the three gunas. So this is the overview or the flow of the 14th chapter. So in the 14th chapter, Krishna explains the three modes. In the first sloka, of course, here that is 14.9. Before that, I will explain briefly the previous slokas. Krishna starts with Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Krishna says, "O Arjuna, please hear again, Param Bhuya, because I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom." So Krishna says what he is going to give now is the supreme wisdom. Param Bhuya. Bhuya means again. Pravakshami jnanana jnanam uttamam. So of all jnanas, jnana, this is the uttama jnana. Yat jnatva munaya sarve. Understanding this, great knowing this, all the sages, munaya means great sages in the past, have attained the supreme perfection. So the goal of jnana or karma ultimately to attain param siddhim itogata. That means to attain the supreme perfection, to That means devotion to Supreme Lord. So here, here the Lord Krishna, he himself is enlightening Arjuna through this process of philosophical speculation, jnana. He will come to an understanding of bhakti. So that is the point. So without bhakti, jnana by itself is of not much use. So therefore, Krishna, he says, he is going to give jnana uttamam. So then Krishna further, he glorifies this knowledge, what he is going to give. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. So mama sadharmayam agata. So we can also become qualitatively similar to Krishna, qualitatively same as Krishna. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. That means by this knowledge, one can avoid repeated birth and death. So this information Krishna gives before the 9th sloka. Mama yonir mahad brahma tashmin garbham tadami akam. So Krishna says the total material substance called Brahman, that is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate. So Krishna, he gives further information about how all of us, all the Jivatma are put into this material world. Because in the earlier chapter, we have discussed and studied, we get the body from the material nature. But where from we came, that is not told earlier. Now Krishna says, in the Mahat, I impregnate. Krishna says, I impregnate the Mahat. Mahat means that is the total material substance. That is the beginning, elemental substance, into which Krishna, or the Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu, impregnates the Mahat with all Jivatma. So then the Jivatma cannot be produced by Prakriti. So Prabhupada gives an analogy. Sometimes the scorpion lays the egg on the rice bag or in the rice, and it may appear the scorpion is born from rice. No, and the source, the seed for the scorpion has come from a scorpion. Similarly, we may appear to get a body, or we may appear to be born from the Prakriti or material nature, but the material nature is not the source of our birth. The source of our birth is Krishna. Krishna says, Aham bija pradapita, I am the source, I am the father and grandshare. So therefore Krishna he here very clearly says, he has impregnated all the Jivatma into the material nature. And material nature provides only our external covering, the material body. So like that, Krishna initially he gives the information regarding our origin in the material world. So our origin is Krishna, not the material nature. So like this, initially he has given the information about how we have come into the material world. So only by Krishna has impregnated us into the nature, material nature, and then the material nature is given as the body. With this body, we are living in the material world. So in the material nature means it comprises of the three guna, sattva guna, rajo guna, and tamo guna, mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So each of these gunas, they have got their respective traits or attributes. So sattvam, rajas, tama iti gunai prakriti sambhava nibandati mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. So the material nature, it consists of three gunas, Krishna says. That is mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. And we are all eternal living entities. So without birth and death. So Krishna puts us into the material nature. So the eternal living entity, when we come in contact with this material nature, and we become conditioned by these three gunas. So we acquire, because the Atma is pure, it is the free. Actually, before entering into the material nature, Atma is not conditioned by the material nature. Once we enter into the material nature, then we become conditioned by the three gunas. So then he also explains each guna. Sattvam, tatra sattvam nirmalatvat, prakasakam anamayam. So the mode of goodness, it is very pure. Then the other three, it is illuminating. Mode of sattva, goodness means knowledge, happiness. These are all the attributes of the sattva guna. And similarly, for example, rajoguna, that means they will be more active. They want to achieve. They would like to take all big endeavors. That is raja or raga atmika vidhi. That rajoguna has got certain qualities. Mode of passion is characterized by attraction between man and woman. When it is increased, one develops hankering for material enjoyment. One in rajogun will have these symptoms, hankering for material enjoyment. He wants to enjoy sense gratification. All these are the symptoms of mode of passion. And the mode of ignorance, that is just opposite of the mode of goodness. That means the mode of ignorance, everyone become mad. And then madman cannot understand what is what. He cannot discriminate between what is good and what is bad, what is to be done, what is not to be done. So what is proper, what is improper, this he cannot discriminate. That is the situation of mode of ignorance. So instead of making advancement, one may become degraded. That is the situation of the mode of ignorance. So like this, Krishna explains the various modes and their attributes. And then we come to the 9th sloka. Then in this verse, 9th sloka, Krishna, he summarizes all the previous 7, 6, 7, 8, because in 6, 7, 8, he individually gives the symptoms or attributes of sattva, raja, and tamagun. And here in this sloka, he summarizes the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, and mode of passion conditions one to fruitive action, and mode of ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. So this is the summary of all the three gunas. That means a person who is in the mode of goodness, he is conditioned to happiness. That means he will have knowledge, he may be a poet or some higher level of jobs, and he feels he is comfortable, he is happy. So therefore, even that is also good. If somebody find himself comfortable, happy, then he will not try to get out of this material nature. So that is his conditioning. Person in rajogun or mode of passion, he wants to achieve fruitive action. He wants to do big things and get results, and he wants to enjoy those fruits. So therefore, he will be over endeavoring to achieve things. And a person who is the tamogun, so he will be lazy, and he will be lacking the discriminatory power. So because of this, he is also bound. So all the three, the person in Sattva-gun, he is bound by the happy mode of because he feels happy, and therefore he doesn't care for spiritual advancement. And a person who is in the Tamogun, he is in Rajogun, he wants to achieve big goals, material goals. So he will be into over endeavor. So like that, each by their respectively they are born. So therefore, the three gunas, the sattva gun, they will be happy, peaceful. Rajogun, and he would like to do things, big, build a big empire. And Tamogun, he doesn't know what to do. So like this, each one different gunas. But these three actually, the material nature, which is under the control of Durga. So she controls or binds all of us through these three gunas. So these three gunas, guna also means rope. Another meaning of guna is rope. So these ropes are invisible ropes. We are all bound and tied by these invisible ropes. When it mixes, it forms different combinations. So these ropes are not outside; it is inside our mind, inside our intelligence. So there we are bound. Therefore, we are entangled in the material world by these three gunas. So this, what are these three modes? The mode, as I said, guna also means ropes. Ropes like primary colors, qualities that affect our every aspect of our life. So these three gunas are the basis for our individual qualities, character, behavior, approach toward ourselves and approach toward others, or even our view about life. All these are primarily influenced by the modes. So, so therefore, we have to understand the influence of various modes, and we should at least try to be situated on Sattva Guna. Impacts us at various levels. These three gunas, it impacts us at our physical level, what we eat, what type of activities we are interested in, our job. All these things are influenced on the physical level. Mental level, our thinking process, thought process, desires, these are all also influenced by the three gunas. And the emotional level, how we develop the relationship and how we maintain this relationship, and that is also controlled by the three gunas. So understanding the three gunas is very, very important, even to make our present life in a proper way. So these three types of modes, so is very, very important. So a simple case study. So case study means just to give an understanding. A happy family, when the people who are in the Sattva Guna, they will be they will have a good understanding. They will have the tolerance, and they will adjust with each other. So therefore, it will lead to mode of goodness will lead to happy family. Rajogun, everyone, they have got their individual role. There is nothing common. They may not have time to spend together. So each one is busy with their own time, like this, as you see in this picture. So one doesn't care for the others' activities. So this is in the mode of Rajogun. And Tamogun, they have lot of differences, and somehow they manage. So this is just an example. So the three modes of material nature, it influences in our various activity. What type of book we read, what is the nature of work that we are interested in or attracted to, or like that. Then time of the day. For example, morning time, it is in the mode of goodness. Noon time is in the mode of passion. Night time is in the mode of ignorance. If you divide the day into uh, 8 hours, then first 8 hours, maybe 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, or that first 8 hours, that is in the mode of goodness. Next 8 hours is in the mode of passion, and third 8 hours is in mode of ignorance, like that. Similarly, music, places, food, state of mind, all these are in different modes. Books, for example, if you take mode of goodness, the people in goodness, they would like to read books like motivational books, a biography of some great personalities, and that will inspire them to follow in their footsteps. They will be always positive thinking, so like that. And mode of passion means they will be more attracted to thriller novels, science fictions, like that. And books for people who are in mode of tamas, they will be interested in reading objectionable websites and connected with that. Work, the people in goodness would like to take up some work like teaching and research, that kind of work. And passion people, they will be interested in business, making more money. Whatever gives more money, that will be their choice of work. And people in ignorance, they will be mostly lazy and attracted to alcohol. And time of the day, morning 4 a.m. to till noon, that first 8 hours is in the mode of goodness. Then middle part is noon to night 8 o'clock is in the mode of passion, and night 8 o'clock to early morning 4 o'clock, that is in the tamo. So music generally, the classical soft music of goodness nature, this jazz, that kind of music. Passion, shouting, screaming, they are in the ignorance. Places like park, forest, these places are in mode of goodness. And people, crowded places, city life, that is mode of passion. And that pub, nightclubs, they are in the mode of ignorance. Food, Krishna himself says in the later in 18th chapter, wholesome, juicy, and vegetarian food is in the mode of goodness. Spicy, sour, hot, pungent food is in the mode of passion. Untouchable, rotten, decaying food in the mode of ignorance. State of mind. So when one is in happiness and knowledge, that means he is in goodness. And if your mind is agitated and greedy, that means that state of mind is in mode of passion. And lazy, dull, very reluctant to make spiritual advancement, and that means that is the lack of mode of ignorance. Like that, the various modes and their symptoms are all given. So people who are in mode of goodness, they are self-satisfied, and they too self-satisfied to follow the dictations of the super soul. Passion, his desires speak loudly, and he cannot hear the voice of the super soul. Ignorant, he is too inert, ignorant, and mad to hear super soul. That means for various reasons, they are unable to listen to the voice of the super soul. So ignorant person is ignorant, so he is not unable to hear the voice of super soul, the guidance of super soul. That means though Paramatma is within and tries to guide us and tries to give us knowledge and elevate us from the entanglement with three gunas, but for various each one in the different guna, they are unable to get out of the guna because of this different type of conditioning. A person in mode of ignorance, he is not able to make use of the guidance from Paramatma because he is ignorant and inert and lazy. And mode of passion, because he is so much involved in the earning money, wealth, and building empire, so he has no time to listen to the voice of the Paramatma. And person who is in the mode of goodness, he is happy, satisfied, and therefore he is complacent. That because of his complacency, he doesn't he doesn't listen to the voice of the Paramatma. So therefore, Krishna says actually we should even come out of these, all even goodness. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nishtraigunya Bhava Arjuna. So Arjuna, please come out of these three gunas and we have to come to Suddha Sattva. That is what Krishna wants. So irony of life is these three invisible shackles. We are bound by these three gunas which are invisible, and it is holding us tight. And I thought they were my real might. So we were thinking these gunas are our power, but actually that is our weakness. We are bound by this. So like that, Krishna tells the three gunas. But we are not always in Sattva-guna or Rajo-guna or Tamo-guna. So there is a constant competition between these three gunas. Sometimes the Rajo-guna is very strong and other gunas are weak. So sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the mode of passion. Sometimes the mode of passion, it becomes strong. It defeats goodness and ignorance. Like that, there is a competition between the three gunas for supremacy. So that is why the same person, we perform sometimes different times we perform different activities. Sometimes we do in goodness, sometimes we act in passion, and sometimes we act in tamogun. So therefore, when the goodness mode of sattva guna, when it is prominent, then our activity, what we choose, we would like to read, we would like to do some homework or read, and that is the mood that facilitates this kind of knowledge-related activities and happiness. When the mode of passion dominates, then we will be very serious about something, over endeavoring, want to achieve. So this we think I want to achieve that kind of very rajasic feeling. And when the mode of ignorance dominate, we will be lazy, and we may take to drink. So the life lesson is so many problems can be sorted out. Life would become so peaceful if we just don't react. When we notice we are in lower modes. So from these symptoms, we should be able to self-analyze. So we have to self-analyze our situation. We can identify whether we are in at that moment, or am I in Rajogun or Tamogun. So if we are in lower gun, Tamogun, Rajogun, Tamogun, so then we can avoid. We cannot. We need not. At least we can take a decision not to react in the Rajogun, Tamogun. Therefore, the mode changes, when it becomes Sattva gun, any decision taken in the Sattva gun, that will be a better one. So therefore, though Sattva gun is also conditioned by by some kind of satisfaction and happiness, but that is a platform for further growth and further progress. So therefore, we have to analyze ourselves. Am I like this? Is she like this? Or is it just that we are being controlled by our lower modes, fighting over things which would not matter after a few days? So like that, for maybe very small, insignificant things, we would create some big fight. So those things result of tamogun, rajogun. So this is not only with us, every one of us in the material world, particularly human beings, we are all struggling with these three modes. Krishna is above all, but whereas Krishna is not within the three modes. Some people, other philosophers, sometimes they will say Krishna is also within mode. No, Krishna doesn't come under the influence of the mode. He is the controller of the mode. He is above the modes. So that Krishna himself says. Just witnessing our reactions, how the three gunas work, and how we are reacting. And that Krishna is witnessing. So, therefore, we have seen the three gunas and how there is a continuous competition between these three gunas to become prominent one over another. And Krishna now gives some interesting truths. A person who is situated in different gunas, what is their next destination? Where do they go? Yeah, those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. So now in the present life, they are in Sattva. After this completion of this present life, they will go to the higher planets. That means Swargaloka and Indraloka, Chandraloka, like that. Those in the mode of passion, that is Rajogun, they live on the earthly planets. They will take birth on earth as a human being, maybe as a king or some whatever according to their eligibility. And those in the abominable mode of ignorance, tamogun, they will go down to the hellish world. So therefore, they urdhavam gachanti sadvasta, madhye tistanti rajasa, jaganya gunavrittista ado gachanti tamasa. So they will go down. So therefore, the destination of each one is different. So those who are in Sattva-gun, they move up, they move to higher planets. Rajogun, they stay on the earth itself. And Tamogun, they are very unfortunate, they go down to the lower planets. So therefore, we should try to be always in the Sattva-gun destination. Similarly, Krishna also elaborates on this point in the 14th and 15th sloka. What is the destination of the various people who are in Sattva-gun, Rajogun, Tamogun after death? People in goodness, they attain higher planets. People in the Rajogun, they remain on earthly planets. People who die in ignorance, they go down in the lower species. Lower species, they mean that means from human life, they go down to animal life. And results of actions, because in this fourth section, Krishna describes a person what is the result of dying in three gunas, what is the result of acting in the three gunas. The results of action performed in Sattva guna, they are pure, and they will give good result. Actions performed in some Rajogun, they will bring misery, sufferings, because they are trying to achieve something more difficult to achieve. And results of action in Tamogun, it will end up in foolishness. The effect of these actions are actions done in Sattva-gun, it brings knowledge. Actions done in Rajogun, it brings greed. And actions performed in foolishness, it results in madness and illusion. So these are all Krishna summarizes. So while staying in this body, we are actually preparing our next body. So if we try to keep ourselves in Sattva Gun, Sattva Guna is a platform for elevation. So and we can respond to any situation in a proper way. And so we have to make responsible choices. So we should not stay in the lower guna. So this is a sloka quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. The human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature, although it's a very rare achievement. This human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as the favorable winds impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. So therefore, when the Atma, when he attains a human body, our responsibility is very, very great. So we have to use this boat. Our body is the nice boat Krishna has given us. Using this body, that is the human body, because in the human body we get only when the Atma, the consciousness is fully or well developed, we attain the human body. So in the human body, we have the highest knowledge, intelligence, and everything. So we are fully equipped to understand our situation, understand who is God. So we can make use of this opportunity to get out of this material entanglement. So if in the human life if doesn't make this endeavor, then the Shastra says he must be considered the killer of his own soul, because he is not elevating himself, he is degrading himself by not utilizing the human body properly. So therefore, death is not end of suffering. So when we leave the body, our suffering does not end. Depending on our present action and desires, we get another body. Then in another body, it will continue. It is just a forward journey from this transit. So board and proper flight for going back home, back to God. So if only through Krishna consciousness we can terminate our suffering once and for all. So therefore, taking up the Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness is the only way we can end our suffering in the material world. So then Krishna, in the final chapter slokas of Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna gives, okay, now we have understood what are the three gunas, what are the various traits of the three gunas, how they compete with each other, and how the three gunas entangle us. So even Sattva guna also entangle us. Therefore, Krishna gives clues or solution how we can disentangle, how we can transcend the three gunas. So Krishna, in the 20th sloka onwards, he gives the method by which one can disentangle or transcend the three gunas. So guna nyata natitya trin. So when the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. So Krishna says, if somebody is able to transcend the three gunas, even while living in the material world, he can be happy. So therefore, we must try to get out of these three gunas. We should try to transcend the three gunas. If at all we want to be peaceful, happy, blissful, then we have to get out of these three gunas. So getting out of these three gunas is possible through spiritual process. So transcending the modes, symptoms of one who has transcended. So what are the symptoms? The person has transcended the three gunas. What is his behavior and how to transcend? This is the subject discussed in the last few slokas. So a person who has transcended the three gunas, he will remain equipoised, undisturbed by the events of the material world. And the bad, good results, the dualities will not affect him. So he remains equipoised because he knows that the material world is like this. And he is neutral, indifferent to their pushings. The material nature, whatever their pushings, he defines, he remains neutral. And he doesn't hanker to achieve anything. And he is free from envy of any, because all are in the same boat. Everyone is going to die. Everyone is put into the same situation. So there is nothing to envy about. So therefore, he is freed from envy. So equipoised, neutral, free from envy. Nothing comes if we believe we are the body. So if we believe that we are the soul, then there is a progress. Hankering about the things you don't have will plunder the happiness of the present for a future that was never yours. Okay, so what are the behaviors of a person who has transcended the three modes? So he will be steady in all circumstances when he is praised or when he is blamed. So both in praise and blame, he will remain steady. Honor or dishonor, happiness, distress, desirable, undesirable, in all circumstances, he will remain calm, steady, and deals equally with everyone. Here, Krishna gives an example. He will consider pebble and stone, earth, even gold, all look same for him. It doesn't make much difference. And friend and enemy, he will treat them equally. So this is the situation of a person who has transcended the three gunas. Never acts whimsically. Because he is surrendered to Krishna, he will act very responsibly and determination in spiritual practices. Okay, and then Krishna finally gives the method by which we can transcend the modes. Mamcha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samititya yitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So this is the secret. This is the final conclusion. How we can transcend. We have to transcend the mode. We should make our own effort. But finally, it is by Krishna's mercy we can transcend. So one who engages in full devotional service, mamchayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena. So in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And so Krishna says this is the way one can transcend the three gunas. And finally, in the last sloka, Krishna says, here he says one can reach the level of Brahman. And also, Brahmanoki pratisthagam amritasya avyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukasya aikantikasya cha. Krishna says that I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. So therefore, here finally Krishna gives the clue or the secret how we can transcend the three modes. So by engaging ourselves in Krishna's devotional service, then we will be able to transcend the three gunas, and thus we can come to the level of Brahman. So the modes, they tie us, whereas surrendering to Krishna, Krishna unties us. Modes are captivating and Krishna is liberating. So if we want to untie ourselves from the clutches of Maya, then we have to surrender to Krishna or try to develop love for Krishna. So by surrendering ourselves to Krishna or rendering devotional service, we will move towards liberation. So Krishna is liberating. So this is the overview of the 14th chapter. So any queries, discussion, points of discussion we can have. Very, very interesting and important chapter. We must read this chapter very carefully, and it will be very useful, very important topic, this 14th chapter, because it deals with our everyday activities. So every day we do so many activities. We talk to friends, we do activities in the office, at home. If we are conscious, if we are aware in what mode I am at this moment. So accordingly, we can correct the situation. We try to reposition ourselves always in Sattva Guna, so that we can have a very peaceful and purposeful interactions. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Raja Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Yeah, I had two questions today. One is, at some point in the discourse, you said you must, even if you are in Sattva Guna, it can get to some point. I'm not able to recall. You said that it's some point where you need to be out of it.
Actually, yeah.
That was one question.
Okay.
Yeah. And the second question is, see, while Krishna speaks about transcending all three gunas, is there no discourse or discussion in the chapter on moving from one guna to another, to rise above? See, you spoke about how the tamas would go to hell and the rajas would stay on earth and the sattva would move to higher levels.
Yeah.
Is no discourse or discussion on, for example, the tamas moving to the rajas or the rajas moving to the sattva level?
Gradual progression from the lower to higher.
Yes.
Yeah, it is there. Actually, when we discuss every chapter in detail, that point is coming up. It is not necessary that one has to go to rajas and like that. Even one can move directly to Sattva Gun by proper cultivation and regulating our food habit and association, the type of knowledge we gain. One can even quickly go to the higher modes. So the point what the Supreme Lord makes is, even in the Sattva Gun, when we are in Sattva Gun, we are satisfied with our position. I am happy. I am knowledgeable. So like that, that conditioning, actually it is a good platform for a peaceful existence here. But they will not have the impetus to take up devotional service, to get out of this material existence. So that's why Krishna says, you even come out of this. So even one cannot remain always in Sattva Gun. Even a Sattva person in Sattva Gun, also sometimes he performs very some unacceptable or heinous act. Because if by chance the other modes take over, become prominent, then even such a great person, he may make some mistakes. So therefore it is not safe to even to remain in Sattva Gun. So one should come out of the three gunas, that is called Suddha Sattva Gun. So that means when we are in pure Krishna consciousness, one can reach the pure Suddha Sattva Gun, and that is the platform for devotional service and elevation to the spiritual world. So this is what Krishna says. And of course, a person through proper association, cultivation, etc., with conscious effort, can move from lower guna to higher and higher gunas. It's not that a person who is in one guna, he will always be there. No, even within the same person, the three gunas is acting at different time. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we will find Uddhava is asking the same question to Krishna. Why people are acting differently at different times? The same person is acting differently at different times, which comes in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna says this is because of the three gunas. The same person, when Sattva Guna is prominent, he will act in a way, and when Tamo Guna becomes prominent, he will act in a different way. So therefore, we ourselves, we can notice at different times our response, reactions, maybe for the same situation, we would have responded differently. This is because the different gunas competing with each other and trying to become prominent. So in which guna we are acting at that particular moment matters.
Thank you. And you said if you are in sattva guna,
Yeah.
You're saying you can become stagnant at that level, is it? Is that what you were?
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
one is
yeah.
you can be sattva, but you may do some rajas reactions. That I understand. But the other is,
Actually,
yeah,
in
go ahead.
sattva guna, a person he may become complacent. Okay, I am well situated, I am happy, I am knowledgeable. So that
Right.
yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Raja Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So, are there any questions, or can we close the session?
No questions in the chat also, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, then I thank all the participants who have attended, devotees who attended today's Bhagavad-gītā class. I thank Raja Prabhu for hosting the program. Tomorrow morning we'll meet. So tomorrow we'll be discussing another very important topic. And anyway, but today's topic is very important. One should read, and this will help even in our daily present day-to-day life. So this knowledge what we get will be very helpful in making your family happy, your friends, your relationship on a better platform. It will also help. It will be very helpful for spiritual advancement also. So read this 14th chapter very deeply. And tomorrow that is a very important chapter. So we will meet tomorrow morning. Hare Krishna.